I want to talk about your lens package. You had said that one of the big differentiators between each of your three looks was the lenses. So what did you use in the modern day?
Modern day, we were on the Alexa LF, and we had a set of ARRI signature primes, which are a set of lenses that I discovered on a previous show. These lenses are, to me, they're sort of the peak of evolution in terms of digital lensing. They're sharp without being overly sharp. They're incredibly great at reproducing skin tones, and they are unbelievable in how focus falls off on them. They have a particular character to them in the way that depth of field behaves, particularly at the 2.8, 2.5 shooting stop that I tend to be at. That's really, really kind to skin tones and to close-ups and that sort of thing. They're beautiful lenses. I don't think we even used diffusion on those lenses. They're so kind to skin tones that we just didn't need it. We didn't need to add another layer between us and the story. In terms of color, they're ever so slightly on the warm side, but seemingly only in the skin tones. And they're just gorgeous, gorgeous lenses. And we wanted to use that as a counterpoint in the present day that we were photographing the characters with the most beautiful lens technology we could find, but yet have them exist in this imperfect world. So it was kind of a fun play with that.
How did the signature primes work with the DNA lenses?
They're distinctly very different. The DNAs tend to flare a lot. They and I don't mean your Steven Spielberg in camera flares. Their coatings tend to allow them to create veiling flares all the time. So if there's any light at all that's grazing the front element of a DNA, it adds a layer of texture to the frame. And the signature primes don't do that at all. Their coatings are transparent. It's the best way I can describe them. They don't draw attention to themselves. They're not overly reductive of flares. They do allow flares. They do allow veiling flares. They just do it in a way that syncs up with my personal aesthetic the best. And when they do have a hot lenticular flare in the frame, they're really beautiful. But it's hard to quantify. It's a really subjective thing for me, lensing.
Well, especially when you're making customizations. I mean, when you're well, that was another question I had too, because I don't have experience with either of those sets of lenses. But it sounds like, based on the conversations I've had with you and other directors of photography, it seems like the DNA are the ones that you would use for making modifications, but the signature primes, people tend to just use them as that. That's the look you want, is that signature prime look.
Yes, absolutely. So if I was doing, let's say, if I was doing a Jason Bourne movie, I would probably go for the DNAs because they have kind of a roughness, an agility to them that's kind of fun. You can tweak them to look differently, or you can keep them perfectly neutral. But if I was shooting, Queen Victoria, in a period piece, I'd probably gravitate towards the signatures because they're so forgiving, they're so beautiful that they draw less attention to the camera and feel more natural.
And in the three different looks that you have, they do work together as one unit, but you clearly know where you are in time when you're watching the show. And obviously, art direction and different characters helps as well. But there is a general feeling of a more modern look in present day and a more sort of vintage look.